Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the 116 Life on Holy Culture Radio, Sirius Channel 154. I'm your host, Ace Harris, here with a very talented, amazing, special person. Give it up for Matthew Warren in the building. Yeah, one clap does enough, you know what I'm saying? How you feeling, man?
Good, man. I've never done anything like this before. I was down to do it. Joe hit me up. I was like, let's do it.
That's dope. I feel like people have seen your work everywhere, which we can get into in a little bit, but it's good to have people like you who are normally behind the camera get in front of the camera. Why it's important to me is because, like, for example, Matthew, I feel like there's like a 10 or 15-year-old version of you that may tune into these podcasts or these radio shows and just they want to hear the stories of people like you. So yeah, tell the people where you from, what you do, and why it's important for them to get to know you, man.
Yeah, man. I was born in Atlanta, right on Boulevard. Atlanta Medical closed down, but it was Georgia Baptist. Then raised on the south side in Clayton County, from Riverdale to Forest Park, right on the edge of Jonesboro. I love where I'm from. I love Clayton County.
He's from the real Atlanta, for real.
Yeah. Like, no lie, like 10 minutes from the airport was where I grew up. Yeah. What'd you say?
So yeah, what the people can like know about? It's like what is it that you do? Like what you put your hands to? I know some people don't like to identify by their trade, but talk a little bit about your gifts and talent.
It's just art in general, man. Like I was talking with Joe earlier about like this guy I just came across, and he's like, the foundation is illustration, and art in general for me started with drawing and sketching.
Oh, so you do draw?
Yeah.
Okay.
But not anymore, because the pace of creativity and delivery now. I mean, bro, just to get detail in general, it's kind of impossible. So, it's turnaround time kind of limits creativity in the space we're in. But can
you say that again? I feel like everybody on the music side.
Turnaround time, just art in general. Right. Art in general, music, everything.
How do you find a balance? How do you find balance in that at all?
I mean, it's not adaptation. It's just you got to know the time you're in, got to know the culture, got to know the people. But also too, man, like just like a 9-to-5 work ethic.
That's smart. Yeah.
We should be able to perform in those limitations and those standards too. Like, I mean, that's how Eminem actually worked. He was like a 9-to-5 type of recording artist. You probably know that.
Yeah.
But he started at 9, break for lunch, and ended at 5. But it doesn't work like that for everybody. But like trying to get on a more militant, from design to photography to, there is a benefit to putting the timestamp to things. Yeah. Just because it's a good pressure. It's not a deadline. I actually don't like that word, but
what word do you use instead?
I don't know. Live line.
Like but basically, deadline sounds kind of like heavy.
I mean, it's like heavy education system. It's like like it just reminds me of everything that you had to kind of be accustomed to, just to get something done. But it also can be a benefit, like on a militant type status. Sure, just getting things done.
Yeah. I understand the creative who like wrestle with that, but speaking of timelines or deadline or schedules, for people who are just kind of getting used to or knowing more about you, Matthew has touched creative directions for some amazing things. I mean, What Up RG's New Hollywood, King's Kaleidoscope, 116 merch, even Citizens Music, Limo Blaze photography. I mean, say more. I mean, what am I leaving out?
Working with Andy.
Okay, and what capacity?
Well, there's Andy Mineo. There's, trying to think. Do you know who Redimidos is?
Yeah, Redimido. Yeah, for sure.
I was on the road with him for like 2.5 years.
Oh, really? Doing shooting? Okay.
Yeah, album covers, tour photography.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. He was in the trenches.
Yeah, man. Like no sleep.
Yeah.
Gaining weight, eating trash.
I feel you.
But just I've kind of. I mean, I guess I gotta look at my website or whatever. But like just the list of people.
Yeah.
Even more of like the underground people, like
give me
Family Orchestra. I mean, my own thing that I do on the side, which is 9200 Apparel, like all vision, no revision, because we can kind of get into that realm as artists too.
But speaking of apparel, don't you do creative direction for In Him Apparel?
In Him Apparel,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
That was a brand new thing last May that I started. But yeah, like King, Citizens, Annie Mineo, Limo Blaze, just recently, Tadashi, which I got to shoot with him after this.
Okay.
Another one. We did one yesterday.
Okay, that's you killing. So tell me what
Triply.
Yeah, so you did the photography for the end.
You were at that shoot.
That was I remember.
You came through that. Yeah.
You was killing. Okay, I now it's coming to mind a little bit. You were okay. So I pulled up to the shoot for Triply's The End.
I had a hat on that day.
Okay.
You didn't see the
Hey man, you was looking fresh as usual, bro. But one thing I noticed when I pulled up on you for the end, I think it was the album cover shoot.
Yep.
And
me and Kevin worked on.
We were in a like a random shopping area in Decatur, Georgia, like a suburban kind of like spot. And I was like, when I got the address, I'm like, yo, what are we going to a shoot? This don't seem very photography like vibes. You know what I'm saying? So I pulled up, you and Trip, y'all just. And I pulled up, and you found like this amazing like staircase angle, bro.
Yeah.
In the middle of like a very like suburban, traditional shopping center.
Downtown Decatur.
Yeah, downtown Decatur.
Yeah.
And I was watching you work, and I remember your work stood out. Like, okay, this person has an eye for photography, pictures, colors, angles. It was really fun to see you work in that way, man.
Yeah, man, and that's. Just because, like, I've lived in Atlanta my whole life, from Southside, Clayton County to, like, in the city.
Right.
But I've traveled all over the world, but I've always approached where I'm from as a tourist, like, what did I remember when I was a kid? What do I see differently now that I'm an adult?
Gotcha.
And what will people forget in the future, almost? And, like, I saw that with the Trip Lee shoot. That thing looked like a spaceship, and everything... It was a parking deck.
Yeah, that's what. Okay, yeah.
And everything that Kevin. Shout out Kevin Hackett.
Shout out Kevin Hackett.
Me and Kevin work on a lot of projects together, and what he sent me, like the mood board and the direction that we were going in, I was like, man, that spot. I've been wanting to use that spot for a minute. I kind of got like a mental.
Like you filed it away, kind of like.
Yeah, and. You know, I kind of do that everywhere.
Sure.
But, for Trip, I was like, this is the move. You know, you could photograph this place in a way that no one would know it was downtown Decatur. And I love that. Like, even early on in a lot of my shoots, like, I did a campaign for Reebok one time, and I was like, I'm only going to use stuff from Clayton County that I like, either like I played baseball there or I used to ride my bike up there. I wanted to use that just to kind of like, it was like a homage thing, but I also want people to look at it and go, where is that?
That's
you know,
good,
not
bro.
like, oh, it's just a tennis court, a basketball court.
Right.
It's like, yo, where is that color at? That looks like Montana or something. I was like, no, it's Clayton County, Georgia. That's south side of Atlanta. So
that's dope.
Yeah, I like doing stuff.
So yeah, I mean, speaking of like south side, I mean, so you grew up in Atlanta. Like, what's some of your backstory in terms of how you got into photography, creative direction? I guess even specifically, what led you to work in like the faith community? Like, how did you get into all those worlds and cross paths with all those amazing artists?
So you're talking about the artists?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, how did you get from Southside Atlanta to doing this? Like, tell me a little bit about like your upbringing, man.
I mean, Atlanta in general. I'm super proud. Atlanta is the greatest city in the world. I don't care what anybody says.
Hey, y'all hear that?
Whatever.
As someone who's from Atlanta,
no, for real. Like, we've owned the music industry since the early 2000s. Name a quantity of artists.
I'm looking around.
Quantity/quality of artists that have been.
Sorry, Andy.
No, for real. No hate to Andy.
I'm just kidding.
But at the tier of at the stature that Atlanta produces music in general.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just super proud about that. It's so hot here that we got to make things to cool us off. like we're not around a body of water like all these other major cities, LA, New York, Miami, Chicago's got the Great Lakes, but whatever. It's like, it's so hot here. We have no other thing to do but just make something out of that heat. My dad used to say it when we were younger. It's like, wait till the summer comes, like fights break out, crime spikes.
True.
Because it's so hot here. You can't, you got to put it somewhere.
That energy has to go somewhere.
I really feel like that's what it is, man.
So tell me, what was it like when you were, I guess, a young person in those Atlanta streets?
No, I wasn't in the streets. Like,
I mean, like just in the Atlanta scene. You grew up.
It was like Clayton County school system. Like I actually went to school almost like 20 to 30 minutes south of actually where I lived. I stayed on Highway 85, like Riverdale.
Sure.
Like Sierra went to school right up the street from me at Riverdale High School.
Right.
And I lived right there, right at her, like right before she was about to do a song with Missy.
Yeah.
Right. Waka Flocka Flame, when he moved down here from New York, a lot of people don't know he's from New York.
That's true.
But he moved to the street, like it was like 2 streets up from me. T.I. actually, what I've seen,
I've heard
he grew up in Bankhead, but then he went over to Riverdale.
I've heard about that.
There's just something about the area still, man. Like,
yeah,
there's a lot of local artists that I've worked with, like Akko Slice, Ziggy 2P.
So tell me, how did you get into photography? I mean, you're in Atlanta. It's hot. You're a young kid. What got you into like creative direction? Did you know then that you'd be doing this now? Like what? How'd that look like?
Bro, I mean, still to this day, like I'm not the fresh dress. Like I couldn't dress.
Stop it.
No, for real. Like I couldn't dress back then the way I wanted to when I went to school. Like everybody had Sean John, Rockaware, Fubu,
right?
Pele. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. I know. And then like I love my dad, man. He raised us by himself, but like we went to thrift stores before they were cool, and bro, he could just get us whatever, and I was just like, I'm gonna play it safe and just get all black, just wear all black every day, cause you're kind of like discreet, right? And like I would look in the Lost and Found because there was a lot of dudes wearing Jordans and Adidas Superstars. Forces were big back then, and I remember getting like mid Superstars, and what you did back then was like you marked your name on the bottom. So if anybody stole them from the class, you can be like, oh, those are mine. So I just scraped off the name.
Yeah.
But in doing that, I would just like be hyper focused on like, yo, that dude right there. Like I like the shoes, I like the tee. Oh man, that girl's got a cool. And I would just be, because I couldn't really get those fits, I'd be paying attention super hard to what everybody else was wearing.
Wow.
So, and then alongside of that, I was in band. I was in the drum line, band in middle school, drums, percussion. Okay. And I started making beats because everybody was a rapper in Clayton County school system. Everybody.
I don't think much has changed.
But it was just always, you went to school and it wasn't math, science, social studies. It was hip hop, and hopefully you get to your next class without getting bullied, or having to like show up. Like for real, that's what it was. So you were kind of like subconsciously introduced to that. Even in the neighborhood I grew up on Thomas Road. Okay. In Clayton County, and it was just like there was like a clique named T Road. They had like the airbrush shirts going on. Yeah. I wasn't a part of that.
So you just,
it was just there, like it was just always there.
That's your eye, you being an observant kid. I'm assuming at the time you didn't have your dad, for whatever reason, you guys were shopping at a thrift store, and so you would kind of look at fashion through the lens of, that's not what I'm wearing, but I see what everybody else is doing. You feel like that kind of sparked your creative thinking early on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that, and I mean, my entire family are artists too. Like my dad plays electric, acoustic, bass.
Gotcha.
He had a little mini studio in his room. My grandmother was a painter. My mother is a photographer. But
okay, so it was in your blood.
Yeah, it's in the veins.
That's cool, man.
I guess.
That's
it's in
super.
the spirit.
It's in
the Holy Spirit.
It's in that whole for sure. God made. So
Yeah.
I definitely want to get into more into not even your
Yeah.
backstory, but how that led you to the things you're working on now. So we'll definitely take a little break. This is the 116 Life on Holy Culture Radio, Sirius Channel 154.
Yep.
I'm your host Ace Harris here with
Matthew W. Warren.
Be right back. Welcome. This is the 116 Life on Holy Culture Radio, Sirius Channel 154. I'm your host Ace Harris here with
Matthew
W. Warren. Atlanta's own South Side. I couldn't guess your nationality off camera, so
he asked. I didn't even say anything.
I mean, not to be too particular, but sometimes different hues have different nationalities, and I was like, I don't think you're fully Caucasian or fully
I've
white.
never heard that.
Different hues. I was like, he's not definitely fully white. I see something in there. I don't know if it's black, Latino, but yeah. Shout out I know you mentioned your mom and dad have some mixed nationalities or whatever. So, but yeah, speaking of like your upbringing, what was the moment that led you to kind of do this full time? Could you how'd you get to, doing this? Like, was there like a breaking point? Like, tell me about that.
Yeah, it was an always thing. Like, from being in school to, and cut me off if I said this on the first part.
No, you're good.
Just being in school, I never finished high school. I didn't drop out, but I just couldn't graduate. I couldn't understand the curriculum just because as a kid, I didn't know how to say, this was the thing I'm going to do. At the time, it was like drawing on desks. It was, it was producing beats for every rapper in the school.
Right.
With a couple other people too, me and my homie Joel at the time. And it was just always this like, you didn't know how to say like, I'm an artist, I'm going to be an artist.
Right.
It was just that thing made total sense. And until you're an adult, you don't know how to communicate or put definition to that. And it was like 2014 when I was like, oh, I'm going to be an artist full time. Like when you could just like blatantly say it like that. Because all the subconscious text is like, you play drums, you play keys, you produce, you draw, you paint. I took photos to mow lawns. I mowed lawns to take photos, like get disposable cameras.
What was the project that you started that allowed you to kind of start doing it? And, like was there something that like kind of catapulted you to kind of get to like working with other brands and stuff like that? Because you mentioned you name dropped Reebok's real light earlier, and I was like, hold up, bro.
No, it was like a campaign. Like they would just reach out to me every time. It was around the time, like, I don't know if y'all saw it, like Lil Baby would get the club, not the Club C's. There was another model of the Reebok. And around that era, they were doing like, they would just reach out to a lot of local artists. And no, like, not a flex. It wasn't like, oh, I was the face of Reebok or nothing like that. I'm not even trying to say that. It was just, they reached out. It was a paid gig, sent the stuff, and I like curated the shoot, the models and everything. And we just did it.
And they picked you, and they did.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
But before that, like a lot of people they want to be like, oh, this is the thing that took you off. It was like, no. I used to shoot 5Ks and marathons. I used to shoot weddings.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, like a lot of people don't want to. I don't know, man. Like it's like, oh, I'm not gonna say anything unless I look cool in front of people. It's like, no, man. It's like there's some stuff you gotta do if you really want this thing. And there's a lot of people that would just take like a part-time job just so they could only work with the thing that they want to be recognized publicly.
That's a gem right there. Real. That's a gem right there, bro.
And I've never been. I'm like, we just gotta work. Like I used to pick up fridges and put them on lines and work at a recycling plant. I used to do construction. There's no lesser or greater in this life. It's just like you just got to do the work for real.
That's good.
And it's just fortunately like I'm able to do the thing I love,
right,
in the realm that is what we know to be work.
Sure.
But before any album cover or whatever the perception of like that's the thing that you did that you made it with.
Yeah.
Before any of those things, it was like, bro, I was running alongside of people out of breath, running a marathon, photographing them. I was shooting weddings at like, a Latino church in Clayton County where the ceilings were falling down and my job was to make this thing look like it was out of the Magnolia magazine. You know, but
Amazing.
but for real, man, like I've always known early
amazing.
on, like I just referenced that, was like, I want to make people's journey or whatever they're working on look like it's like almost unreachable to whoever gets to see it. Like when I shot that wedding where the ceilings were falling down, it was literally like, here's a international supermarket, here's a barbershop and Dollar General, and then there's Iglesia Bautista, like a Spanish church right there, and I shot a wedding. I was like, I'm gonna make this thing look like they got married in a super high-end venue because I know this means a lot to them.
That's amazing.
And you know, it's
almost like you're capturing or extracting the beauty out of the chaos, kind of.
Yeah, or what everybody else would consider chaos.
Yeah.
You know, to me, that's normal.
But there's beauty in there.
Yeah.
You just got to kind of like focus in.
That's why I keep going back to where I'm from, or incorporating where I'm from and what I do. So
that's good, bro.
Yeah, man.
So tell me, you mentioned album covers. What was it like working on What Up RGs, Triply, and did you know you were shooting album covers? Did you like what are the things that led to that, and how was it working with them? Like shooting, like it seemed like a lot of pressure to like shoot an album cover, because that's such an intimate piece of an artist like portfolio. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
As soon as you hear that term, you're like, all right, buckle down, 1, 2, 3, list. Right. You know, like Andy's was.
Which can you say which Andy project you shot for?
So Andy Minio's Neverland 2.
Okay, amazing.
No lie, it was very last minute. Biz just walked in.
Shout out Biz.
His stomach is showing, but
he's working on his abs. He's doing ab work for the kingdom.
Yeah, I remember I went into the studio with Biz was in there, and he was showing. I got to go listen to a lot of Andy's work.
Right,
and it was Biz, Andy Minio. It was Delgis.
Yeah,
and Words Played. John was here.
Okay,
hilarious dude. And they were just showing me some of the music, and Del was like, man, bro, he was like, bro, we need photos like ASAP. You know, he's like ultra New York. I'm doing that because
it's out of respect. For the young the New York.
He's ultra New York. But they were just talking about like they needed photos ASAP. So, man, the way I work, I do actually love to like have a hold of the project or be in studio with the artist, listen to the music, just because I do have like a musical background too. And I love to just like consume that. I did that with Tadashi's project he's working on now, and you know, going to shoot it later. I want to make sure I'm like locked in completely. And I didn't really have a lot of time with Andy's.
Andy? Okay.
Yeah, I didn't, but I mean, I was just like repeat, made a playlist. I even like made an album cover and put it on the Apple Music playlist myself, just so I could kind of like get into it even more. Dope. A lot of the songs he showed me still haven't even like
came out.
Yeah, never went out. You know, so I kind of like based a lot of visual on things that didn't even get out there too.
Wow.
But me and Andy went to Rich Perez. I don't know if you know who that
I know
is.
Rich, yeah.
Rich is cool, man. Met up with him a couple times, but we went to his house and used his son's bedroom for that. And I went to Andy's house. We stayed like 5 minutes from each other. Got a couple things from him. I started setting up, then he showed up, and we started moving things around.
Right.
Just to kind of like create it as
that like childlike.
Yeah, like his bedroom in New York, right? And I put some of the stuff that like I grew up with, which, you know, really in the hip hop realm, it's like hip hop and basketball, you know, and I'm like, well, I'm like baseball and Super Nintendo. So sorry, man, you know, but I brought like my baseball cards that I've had. I brought some boxes of like my old stuff. He even drew, remember, I don't know what it's called, but like that old school S that everybody used to draw like in the 90s.
I think
they would just connect it with the 6 dots, but like he drew that.
Oh,
and put, like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
He drew like Andy stuff.
You took me all the way back.
Yeah, like he drew Andy stuff. And then
that's amazing.
One thing I always do, I'm like, hey, can we put the project on while we shoot? Like I want to hear the music, like be totally in the spectrum. So we did that, and what we planned for the cover did not end up being that. I actually took a shot at him, which ended up being the cover, like where he's just throwing up the ball, and it was a very like dramatic backlit light coming from the outside. And I'm like, bro, I know y'all wanted this setup, but I'm a feeler. I'm very emotional. I'm very passionate.
And a whole different idea came.
Yeah, I saw that photo and I sent it to Kevin. I made the Photoshop file. It was like a rough draft. Like I cut the ceiling off and I put a light beam in there. I was like, bro, it should look like this.
Oh, that's
like
amazing.
This is what it needs to look like. Kevin was like, bro, I'm gonna give you credit for this, man. You know, I was like, this is what bro, I'm terrible with the names of the song. Am I falling? Am I falling?
Yeah.
I was like, I sent it to Andy. I said, this is what Am I Falling looks like. And he was like, that's it. So we got it.
I love when that happens in art, bro.
Yeah, man.
Like when the audio and the visual and the vision just it's like it's
that's
really
called spirit.
It's really it's
that's called spirit.
I mean, some people would say it's magical. It's really
that's spirit.
Spiritual.
That's
bro.
Holy Spirit.
It's
For
just
real.
like
and
it just aligned, and then that expression is because when you see when you said this visual looks like that song.
Yeah.
No debate.
We all have like a word to like, bro, I get this energy. Oh, I got this feeling. Oh, my gut says, and it's like that is to me. That is the Holy Spirit. I'm not even trying to be corny. Like that is the Holy Spirit.
I think you're
that's what it is, man.
For sure.
You know, even in the secular realm, they're trying to figure out Travis Scott's telekinesis. When I listened to the new record, I was like, bro, you're experiencing the Holy Spirit, and you probably don't even know it right now.
Hey man, let's pray for Travis Scott.
No, for real, for real.
So that he would show up in his life. But that's I think that's shout out for you for giving credit as an artist. Giving credit to the greatest creator,
but that's what it is.
I think we need to always go back there to remind ourselves that that moment that hit you wasn't you.
Yeah,
the Holy Spirit was like, hey.
I told Tadashi yesterday in 1 Samuel I read, not to be all preacher.
No, that's right. Yeah,
but
this is 116 life, man.
I'm the worst at quoting scripture, but in 1 Samuel there's a verse around. The human not being able to see how God sees. And not like this is what I do before every shoot. I'm not the greatest to ever do it or nothing like that, but like every shoot I have or every design I work on, every album packaging, I'm like, I want to see how God sees. Not on some pride, on some the human is limited in how we can see each other.
Sure.
We fail to see the Spirit always, man. And that scripture in 1 Samuel, it's God kind of like mocking humans like, bro, you will never see each other as brother and sister how I see you as children.
That's a bar, man. So like kind of speaking of like seeing God in the art, the album covers that you worked on with What Up RG, Andy, I mean all those things are great, but you've not limited your like view and your expression of your art just to the music. I mean, talk about speaking of being in the Spirit. Talk about In Him Apparel and what led you there, and how do you apply that same like approach and purpose to what you direct there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
In Him Apparel, man. In Him Apparel. I say they because they have been around since 2014. A lot of people don't know that. They started in Denver, Colorado, and it's a faith-based apparel. All about Jesus, God, Yeshua, HaMashiach, like however you know God, like that's what they've always been about. Their founders are Diane and Matt, and I worked off and on with them starting in 2020. I can't remember who reached out to who, but I just took some photos of their apparel. But then Matt, one of the founders, he reached out to me in quarantine time in 2020 and was like, hey man, you ever thought about designing a collection? And no lie, man, like before that, I've dabbled in like collaging and like on King's Kaleidoscope's Zeal Tour, like it was photography / graphic design collaging. That was like the peak of it. But when it came to just like full on design, I had never, especially for apparel, I've never done anything. But around that time, identity wise with myself, you know, me and Ace were talking off camera about, he asked me like, what race are you? Like, what you mix with? And, you know, this world can kind of determine you for yourself a lot of times.
Yeah.
More than you determine yourself for yourself.
That's fair.
And you start working in accordance to what people perceive of you as opposed to who you are in Christ. And around 2020 was, I need to know who I am because it's getting dangerous for me spiritually. And the only way you can know yourself is to know who you serve.
Right.
And I just went on this really deep dive of like, why am I not assured in who I am as a person?
Right.
It's because I'm not assured in who I worship as a God. And
that is amazing, bro.
But it's what it is, and I went on a deep dive and deep study for myself about, okay, where is my Savior from? What did he look like? You know, who are the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit? And Yeshua, with the accent, their Aramaic to Hebrew to Greek to translation to transliteration, like all of that, and in between, it came to Yeshua HaMashiach. Like, I was like, why has this never been in a sermon in any church I've ever been to? Why is this being kept from us? And it came to this like, when I was creating the first line for In Him Apparel that they asked me to, full circle, I was like, I know that, you know, creating a, I don't know, walk on water shirt or like all this like churchianity language.
Churchy, I love that.
We can
do that.
We can do that, or like referencing like old school praise and worship music and like take a line out of that, put it on a shirt. It's like, it's cool. It's no slam on that.
Yeah.
But what if we really like challenge the church, not challenge the people, challenge whoever's buying our stuff, but like, what if we kind of created a healthy disruption and going like, let's drop a Yeshua line. Nobody did it. I was like, I look at a lot of stuff before I create something and go, has anybody done that yet?
That's fire. So you
we created. I designed an entire line and just called it the Yeshua collection. No other. I mean, bro, I did my research. I was like, no other Christian collection. Christian apparel, secular apparel, nobody did a line like that. And it wasn't like, oh, we did it first. It was like, no. This is the responsibility that we have to educate all of us inside the church.
That's good.
About who we actually serve. And I don't do stuff, I guess, but like I recorded the actual audio for the collection. Like I made like a whole lyric video and everything about, if God loved us, then we should also must love one another. And it's based solely on like, if you know the one true God you serve, then you will know your brother and your sister. You will know your neighbor and you'll know your enemy too.
That's fire.
And because if you know that, then you can't get away with the anger or malice that you try to perform. Anger is biblical, but malice isn't. And that's good. And that's what it was. It was a personal thing for me, but then I was like, maybe somebody needs this, man. Like,
and so you art directed and designed something that was needed for the church, to challenge the church, healthy disruption.
Yeah, needed for the American church.
Yeah. And it helped push us to see who we are, who he is, so we can see ourselves better. And then you put that on, it's like, you really...
Yeah, I can't know who I am without knowing who I serve.
Yeah. And now you really are in him. That's so dope. I definitely want to talk more.
And real quick, man, in him, a lot of people, they're like, what is NHIM? And it comes from the book of Acts, chapter 17. I believe it's verse 28. Sorry, I'm not a scholar, but a lot of the translations say in him we live, move, and exist. But there's one translation that actually like goes back and says, in him we have our being. Esham Burgundy, I don't know if you know who that is. He dropped a record just recently called Lost Sheep, and there was a track on there. He was like, in him we have our being, ain't no being like the rest. And I was like, oof. Yeah. That gum. Like that's That's it, right?
They said
there. No
yeah,
more.
No, that's it. Nothing else to say.
Yeah.
Nothing else to add. Well, shoot, man, I definitely want to talk about more on the next break. This is the 116 Life Holy Culture Radio, Sirius Channel 154. I'm your host, Ace Harris. Here with Matthew Warren. We'll be right back, y'all. This is the 116 Life on Holy Culture Radio, Sirius Channel 154. I'm your host, Ace Harris. I'm here with
Matthew Warren.
And we just kind of coming back off of talking about your amazing breakdown of Yeshua, Hamashua, In Him Apparel, and just pushing or challenging the church for us to get to know who the real God is so that we can know who, how to serve others. And I think for you being an artist and a creative director, I think that's amazing that you're putting out into this art and creativity what's in you. You know what I'm saying? So obviously you've been doing it I think I first met you at Reach Records. You were shooting for Lecrae's album or something. Talk about that and how you got, just a little bit of backstory on that experience. And
I honestly don't remember who asked me to do that.
Right.
But yeah, Lecrae, I don't know what project he was working on, but I just remember it was a camp, like a recording camp or whatever.
Sure.
And I just showed up. He was in, every single one of these studios, he had like different producers. One of them was
S1.
Yeah.
The GOAT.
Yep. Yeah, he was dope, man.
The GOAT. He's amazing.
I just really even in between, because sometimes Lecrae had to step out for to take a meeting or whatever.
Sure.
So, but my job was to capture him listening, recording, whatever it was. But in between, man, I was just sitting in there with S1. I was like, bro, this dude touched so many records that I love. I don't remember the other producer's name. It's not a stab at him, but there was a lot of people.
That's when I first met you, and then to see you go from there to where you are now, I think you're killing it.
Appreciate it.
For people who are aspiring creatives, creative directors, photographers, what advice you have for people that's trying to not do what you do, but accomplish some of the things you have accomplished? What how can you? Yeah, what's your perspective? For that?
I mean. Every artist I work with is just a reflection of I guess when I say versatility, I mean in who I am as a person, my interest in music. Other than I hate country music, sorry, but
it's getting better. I've been tapping in.
I'm alternative rock. I'm hip hop. I'm I love the roots. I listen to John Legend, and I get made fun of.
No, John Legend is
okay.
Save for
Common is probably my favorite hip hop artist of all time.
Okay, gotcha.
That's I used to love her to Finding Forever. Those are my records, But I'm always in between the spectrum. When everybody's oh yeah, hip hop and basketball, I'm well, baseball and Super Nintendo, and also indie pop, not as a a stab or ooh, look what I'm doing different, but that's just my genuine interest. All that to say is know who you are as a person, then comes the interest because of who God made you, and find that out, and then find those people. That's why I'm. I got my name on a hip hop record, but then at the same time, I got it on an alternative rock record because that's just who I am. I grew up listening to Sly and the Family Stone at the same time listening to the Allman Brothers.
Wow.
But then I would go to my grandmother's and listen. I would hear her play mariachi, but then she played Tony Bennett. So it's those things weren't okay, you hear them and that's who you are. It's that's genuinely what I like. So that's my advice is remember everything about what made you, pinpoint the things that you actually do like from those eras, and then go after the people that you can feel through the spirit that feel the same thing.
That's super well said, because I feel what is your take on the faith and artist community, specifically on the photography and digital? What is your take on the state of Christians designing, creative directing? Mm-hmm. How do you feel things are, and what things you think could be better?
Well, I'm gonna go backwards because what could be better? Again, I'm not the greatest to ever do it or nothing like that. but we have access to a God beyond this life that we're in. So why not have access to the ideas that are beyond this life too? We don't have a limitation on those things, so we shouldn't be limited to what's going on here.
Okay.
We should just be like hyper concentrated on everything that's going on in the supernatural realm, you know? But as far as like who I'm looking to, like, bro, everybody younger, I'm super excited for specifically, and I'll shout out RG, Raul.
Shout out Raul. Yeah.
The project, you know, I got to work with him during the New Hollywood era on the kids. I was there for the kids video shoot, the cover, and then the album cover was like a mixture and combination of like my photography, Andler, shout out Andler, and I can't remember the other guy's name, man, but it was just a combination. Kevin was on the record, but Raul is like, I love that a young dude is creating like he's been here forever. And the Heaven on Earth project is a perfect example of that. Like all the dudes on that record, this isn't like puffing up anybody. I'm just like, I'm really excited for dudes that are way younger coming and killing it in terms of sonically, audio, musically, and then visually, like Johnny Clay on the videos. I was like, God, dude, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Being in a space where you can just be like, bro, I love that, man. I want to work with you in the future. Like I was talking to Joe the other day about, you know, I just want to, even within him apparel, the future of it looks like, I don't want to be like, oh, Matthew's the creative director. It's like, no. I want to, like, straight up, I want to work with Wande on a collection. I want her to, you know, like think of something in the future. I haven't got to work with 1K Few yet.
Oh yeah.
Like I want to work with 1K Few. Like I'm not just trying to like tiptoe around, like, you know, walk around like I'm someone. I'm just like, I'd really love to work with these people. And then them to have a space where they can create something in that realm too. I'd love for RG to create or design at like whatever realm, Johnny to create a design, Ray Neutron, like we went to the same high school.
Wow.
He shot my wedding, you know, like
that's amazing.
Ray that's the homie, man. Like I love his work, man. I just love praising people for the work that they do and finding newer creatives, old, mid, new, whatever. Like, bro, like it might sound corny, but like the other day in Him Apparel, we had a meeting. I was like, everybody is in Him Apparel. Like we should not be subject to, if we're looking at it like genres of music, like we should not just be subject to, we are the hip hop apparel, we are the pop apparel, we are the attorney. Like I want a pastor to I want a hip hop artist to wear. I want
an athlete or
I want my man on the side of the road to wear, like, because that's the kingdom of God. There's amazing. No greater or lesser, man.
Talk. So yeah, man. You dropping some gems and just your heart for art, and then your heart for people, and honestly, just for the Lord. It just shines through effortlessly, which I think is a testament to the kind of man you are. Talk about, as we wrap up, talk about some things that you're excited to work on right now. How can the people keep up with you? Like, what are some things that are kind of on your immediate plate that you're really excited for?
Yeah, man. I mean, I still love looking at the older stuff. Like, I love Trip Lee's press photos, how they turned out.
Okay.
Like, I look at those, I'm like, man, I'm glad working with Trip was really fun. Like,
amazing.
He's just a nice dude. Working with Tadashi today, you know, we're going to go.
Excited about that, yeah.
Yeah, man. Like, just like, I'm going to put the lighting like this just so it can be different. I look at his catalog and I'm like, what has he not done yet? You know.
That's so good.
Whoever else comes along, man, like, I'm just excited. Like, I stay working with citizens. Like, if you hear that music and then look at me, you know, people would probably be like, huh? You know, but
yeah.
Zach Bolin is like, he's my pastor, bro. Like that's my go-to therapy.
For sure.
Dude. Like,
that's amazing. Yeah. That's you don't seem like you're stingy with the art, stingy with what guys. You want to just, man. That's really good. So
why should we be? Christians doing that? I'm like,
I mean, sometimes it gets a little chippy at times. You know, we gotta.
I know.
I've had to reel some people in because I mean, when you're talented at something in the name of God, it can create a little bit of like, I did, and then you say for God after that.
And I'm like, you need to go back to church.
Go back to the scriptures.
Go back to the scripture.
And how do you plan on carrying the unashamed, like the 116 mantra, in your work as you keep blessing people with you? Yeah,
bro, the same way. Like, this is the first time, probably, I don't know if anybody knows who I am or whatever. I don't care. Like, but this is the first time I've been on a interview, a podcast, or I've done it in the past, but like, lower. But in the same way, it's not a discouragement of you doing interviews or nothing like that, but I just want to make whoever I work with, whatever translation they're trying to get through the art and the work that they're doing out there, because they hold, just like a pastor, they hold a responsibility with their art form to save a life. Like, we're about to work on Tedashi's record, and I'm listening to the record, and I look at how many people listen to it, and I'm like, if I get this image wrong, it's not, Matthew messed up. It's, I messed up the translation that Tedashi's trying to get out there to save another soul. I did that with Kings with their Power Perfect. Like, I threw like a little 4-year-old tantrum in the studio, but it wasn't because I was getting it wrong. It was, I might mess this up for someone who's on the edge about their faith.
That's good, bro. You take it that serious. That's amazing.
I do, man.
That's amazing.
And because that's how I came to the faith.
Sure.
It's through propaganda. Beautiful Eulogy.
Shout out Beautiful Eulogy.
I didn't know the depth and like how meaningful the gospel was until I heard things like that around like 2012, 13.
That's good.
So I hold that same. I'm not responsible. I play a part in the responsibility to help or be a part of God saving somebody's life again
through the art. Yeah, man. So, that's man. We gonna put a pin on it, man. This has been a great conversation. How can the people find you, man? I don't know if you're on socials or maybe name drop. Yeah,
it's on. I mean, I don't know what people are on, but Instagram is the main thing I'm on. It's Matthew W. Warren, 3 W's in the middle. In Him Apparel is the clothing. We are not ashamed of who we serve. We literally put the Savior's name all across our clothing. So NHIM Apparel, Citizens, I'm always a part of their stuff. So go listen to them if you haven't, and go listen to Tedashi's new project when it drops, because we're working on that right now.
Man, it's a pleasure having you, man. This is the 116 Life on Holy Culture Radio, Sirius Channel 154. I'm your host, Ace Harris. This is Matthew Warren, and we'll see y'all next time.